back to our discussion of Hamilton and the energetic presidency. One of his points was that the president could serve as sort of a focus in politics because there's only one of him, right? And that also mattered for accountability because if we had multiple presidents, then it would be hard to hold a single person accountable for mistakes. Now, what this means for us is that naturally the president has become a focal point, and we expect him to sort of solve our problems, right? Because we can hold him accountable. Now, couple this with the expansion of the presidency over the years, and we can see the president becoming more and more a focus of our national politics. For example, the State of the Union, which is mandated by the Constitution, used to just be a letter that would be sent to Congress. And now it's a prime time address aired live on national news. And since 2002, it's also been live streamed on the internet. And of course, campaigns naturally rally attention around the presidency. As we're going to talk about when we talk about presidential elections, presidential coattails basically is a reference to how the president's campaign often sort of drags the rest of his party along with him. And drags sounds sort of negative, but this can be a positive thing, at least if you're a member of his party. You can ride his coattails into office yourself. And so we can see that in both government and in campaigns, the president has become a focus of our national politics. Coupled with that, there is this effect called the rally around the flag effect that basically says during times of crisis, we're going to look to our government for support. And that typically means we're going to look to the focal point of our government, the president. And this has increased the public's expectation of the president to sort of lead us in mourning, to be our chaplain in chief, if you will. And we could see that the aftermath of 9/11, we have George W. Bush standing at ground zero talking to first responders. And we have Obama after Hurricane Sandy talking to people who lost their homes in the hurricane and meeting there with Chris Christie. That election cycle, when Obama got reelected, a lot of Republicans blame Chris Christie for sort of standing with Obama and giving him this bipartisan leadership moment when the country sort of rallied around him just before an election, him meaning Obama. And this is true. Would it really have tipped the election if he hadn't had this moment? We can't really say. Counterfactual is always hard to prove one way or another. It seems likely that this isn't the tipping point, but it certainly helped him during the election. Now, was Chris Christie wrong to do it? Maybe from a partisan politics standpoint, but arguably not from a sort of leading his state, which was New Jersey, standpoint. As we can see here, that the president can gain a lot of respect, a lot of support in these moments, and also a lot of power to lead us in these moments. Arguably, the aftermath of September 11th and Bush's leadership during that moment helped him then set the agenda for our subsequent wars in the Middle East, right? Because we looked to him to lead us out of this crisis, we were willing to sort of go along, we as in the public and certainly in the government, were willing to go along with his plans for Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, the problem here is our expectations of what a president can do often exceeds their abilities, and this can lead to pretty big problems for the president because we're disappointed when the president can't actually meet our expectations. And when a president, for example, promises something in a campaign and then can't deliver, were disappointed that he didn't deliver, when in reality, what he was promising was something he could never deliver on. Because we know that even though we look to the president to lead the government and sort of make the government work for us, there are three branches of the government and checks and balances. And the government is slow and doesn't have nearly as much power as we often think it does. So presidents will sort of try to do more and more. That's why there's more executive orders being issued. That's maybe why the president will veto stuff, using these prerogative powers to try to get things done. But as we know, even the prerogative powers aren't enough. So there is often this disjoint between expectations and reality, which we are going to talk about more when we talk about presidential failure as well.